The session is being recorded for our viewing and listening pleasure. Hello to everyone who threw me a hello in the chat. Welcome. Nice group today. Good to see. I will take attendance in a few minutes. So yes, there was a couple updates to our homework and also an upcoming quiz. So give me a second. We'll go into that. Let's revisit our quotes of the week. So I really like the Oprah Winfrey quote, so I kept it up again a second day. So that was the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams, said by Oprah Winfrey. So if you're here on Monday, you got that then as well. I did add a quote, and I would be impressed if you knew who Jordan Davis was. But he used this quote. I heard it again this morning, so that's a little hint for you. Do what you love, but call it work. Do what you love, but call it work. I think it's a kind of a great line. We hear that a lot, right? Or maybe you've heard that as you're going through your own career and education. If you enjoy what you're doing, it's less like work, right? If you love what you're doing, it's something that you just want to keep experiencing and keep doing. So Jordan Davis used this line, do what you love, but call it work. Any ideas who Jordan Davis is? Anyone know who heard the name Jordan Davis at all in any context? And not Jordan Peele, one of my favorites too, Jordan Peele. How many of us watch Key and Peele? But Jordan Davis, who's Jordan Davis? Any ideas? A little hint. He was going to be on my next playlist of my next song. Let me drink out of my big mug there. So Jordan Davis, he's a cut. Oh, go ahead, Alexis. Yes, nice job, Alexis. He's a country singer. Yes, Jordan Davis is a country singer. So uses that in a duet with Luke. Is in a duet with Luke Bryan. I forget who the duet is now, but uses that line in a song, and I thought it was great. And I was listening to it again early this morning, so I threw it up there in our quotes of the week. Christopher, no, thank you for joining us. Great group today. I'll take attendance in a few minutes, so you didn't miss that yet. So welcome back. Let's get into the agenda. There's a couple of updates going on. First is, and I apologize for this, and I thank you for the student that reached out to me this morning. We're really getting into chapter 2 today. So I don't normally have your homework due until at least midweek or end of the week of us reviewing that chapter. So the chapter 2 homework is not due until this Sunday. So normally it would have been due tonight. In our outline, it was due tonight. It's not due until September 26th. It's not due till this Sunday. If you handed in already, that's fine. There's two things. A, I'll take it for what it is, and I'll have some, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. I'll give you the additional credit for handing it in early. But if you want to take the additional time, you have till Sunday to hand it in. So I changed it on online on Canvas. All right. And normally I don't wait till the last minute normally to change things like that, but it just came up, and I thank the student who reminded me of it this morning. I actually didn't forget I was even due today. So chapter 2 is not due till Sunday. If you did hand it in already, you can pull it back and resubmit it if you want more time. But if not, just let it go, and I'll grade it accordingly. And I thank you for getting it in on time, if not early. And then also don't forget about your student success packet. So the questions for the student success packet are also due, but be sure to read the packet and then answer the questions. And then next week, we're going to discuss that together in class. All right. The other big update is that the Welcome Barbecue Club Rush that was scheduled for tomorrow has been pushed up or back until next Tuesday, September 28th. So the Welcome Barbecue Club Rush event on campus, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., is now next Tuesday, September 28th. So please come down next Tuesday if you want to. I'll be there. You want to eat, get something, grab a bite to eat, visit us at our business club table, or you want to sign up for the business club, please come down September 28th. That's next Tuesday, and do that between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. I know I might have said 1 p.m. in the email, but 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. All right. And it's in the outline, but we're going to have a quiz on chapters 1, 2, and 3. That's going to be pushed back another week or so. So I'll give you a date on that when that's ready. Okay. So quiz 1 is going to be pushed out further. All right. Any questions about any of that? No. Okay. Any questions about anything else going on? So thank you very much for being here today. So I'm not going to review chapter 1 because I really want to jump into chapter 2. But before we do that, I gave you a little bit of a homework assignment over the weekend. Let's go here. So I asked this question, maybe actually over the weekend, maybe on Monday. What is our national debt? So do you have a chance to look that up? Please put your answers up in the chat. So what is our national debt? What's the U.S., the United States national debt number when you looked it up? And this might be different for you. But what is the debt of the U.S. national debt? And some, depending on where you looked, the numbers could be a little bit off here. So I'm just curious. And please, before I answer anything, please put your numbers up in the chat. Give you a chance. Did anyone else look up? And I'm gonna copy down the names here. Did anyone else look up the national debt numbers? Nice job. Awesome. Good job. Give you a minute to put that up there. Give you a little chance there. Okay. Oh, nice job. Let me copy some of these down. And there's a reason for this, but I will try to take as many as I can get. Give me 1 second, folks. Great job. Awesome. You know what's interesting? Yeah, so 28 trillion. Maybe I missed this. Did anybody find this number? Did I miss it? Did anyone find 23 trillion? Looks like we're all 27, 28 trillion. Yeah. So, and some of us 28.13, 27. It also depends on when we look at it. And that's why I recorded some of it now to give you credit for those of you that answered, but also because in a few months I want to go back and check, or a few weeks for our class period, I want to go back and check to see where that national debt number is. So in a later chapter, we'll talk a little bit more about how debt is accumulated, especially for our government. If you join me for economics, or you join any of your economic classes, I'm sure they'll get into where that debt comes from. Let me ask you this, just from a kind of a business standpoint. After 2021, do you think that debt number will increase, decrease, or stay the same? And how come? So after 2021, what do you think we'll see for that national debt amount? Will it go up? Will it go down? Will it stay the same? If we look back in 6 months from now. And maybe why, if you want to throw up there, why might it go with however direction you think it might go? So I'll give you a chance to answer that too. So increase is the, I could have put a poll up for this one, right? Yes, increase, yes. Thank you all. And I agree, increase. And why might we see some of that increase? Any ideas of why might we see an increase? Why would national debt be increased? And I know this isn't economics, but just your thoughts about it. I apologize for the background noise. Oh, sorry about that. Any thoughts on that? It has to do with what we showed earlier with business cycles, right? With business cycles, with the peaks and the valleys. So what's been happening in the last 6 months to a year and a half during the epidemic, during COVID, right? Our business cycle has been in a valley, right? Not necessarily at the bottom. The bottom of that valley would be a trough. So the business cycle, and please put your thoughts up in chat. So what happens when that business cycle hits that valley? Well, the government steps in, right? We talked about different economic systems. Well, we live in an economic system where our government is able to step in. And in the past, it's been bailouts. In the past few months, in the past couple of years, it's been with stipends. It's been with checks directly to, business subsidies and checks directly to people as well. So the government's bailed us out of going into a recession. So that's going to kind of add to their debt. And the government has a budget every year, believe it or not, but the government has a budget, and sometimes things happen where they need to overspend, right? Just like some businesses do or people do. We need to overspend to make up for those deficits. And a lot of times they're unexpected. So the government can't exactly go and enforce new monetary policy or fiscal policy to increase their revenue, to increase taxes, to make up for that debt. What they do is they almost borrow from themselves. Really, it's borrowing from us. We are the government, we are the people, but we borrow from ourselves to pay off current debt. And then hopefully there'll be a plan in the future to make that back, to fill in those gaps. All right, if that makes sense. Debt could come from, talk about products and demand for products. Debt could come from if there's a need for a product or there's an industry that's suffering, well, the government can step in with subsidies for that industry to help meet demand, right? To help those companies meet demand. And it could be a temporary solution, a temporary fix. And in the same way, there maybe even lower interest rates. Lower interest rates increase business loan amounts. So, all right, good little backtrack there into chapter 1. Now we'll jump into chapter 2. Any questions about that? Don't mind my slides going really fast here. So I think we started chapter 2 Monday, right? We talked about ethics, right? We talked about this already. We get into ethical behavior and unethical behavior. Who's with me still? Thank you, Connor. So it's important that we talk about managerial ethics, standards of behavior that guide individual managers in their work. And even though we're referring to managers here, we're talking about everyone from business owners to CEOs to marketing VPs, chief marketing officers, and these managerial ethics. So these standards. So it's important to know these 3 different groups. So our first group of managerial ethics is behavior towards employees. And that's going to include hiring and firing of employees. So are companies ethical in the process that they hire new employees, that they promote the needs of the company? Are they doing it in a way that's that meets social norms? And in the same regard, are they letting people go? Are they downsizing? Are they firing in an ethical behavior, in an ethical manner? Are they doing it not only ethically, but lawfully as well? And then there's behavior towards the organization. So this is from an employee's standpoint. Is the employee acting ethically towards the organization? When I mentioned confidentiality there, confidentiality. So you work for a large, or even doesn't have to be large, but a fast food business, right? A fast food seller, and you have their secret recipe. And you go share that with a competitor, or you share that with a family member, not really realizing that this was confidential information for your employer, right? You might not only be acting unethically, but you might be acting unlawfully as well. Are you honest? Are you honest in dealings with your employer as well? And then the last one there is behavior towards other economic agents. So economic agents is a really good term. When we say economic agents, we're talking about customers, we're talking about suppliers, competitors are there as well. And if I'm an employee and I'm an employer and my employees are part of a union, that union would be an economic agent as well. So primary agents of interest for economic agents, customers, suppliers, competitors, stockholders could be there too. Any questions about that? So be sure you check out I have a little bit of amended PowerPoint for us for our lecture today, because I want to also try to include a quick little video in for us too. So be sure in your PowerPoint for chapter 2, it gets into assessment of ethical behavior. Check out that PowerPoint. I think it's called I spell behavior with a U. Those are 2 PowerPoint slides we're not going to go into today. Assessing ethical behavior, and then about ethical norms too. So check out those slides, please, when you get a chance. So we're going to move ahead a bit. Different ways that companies practice ethics and formal behavior practices. So 2 of the most common approaches is adopting written codes and instituting ethics programs. So I bolded the first one there. So a common business practice that starts from top management, and it's a way to enforce these ethical and business practices in the company, is to adopt written codes. So I know when I started with a company a few years ago, major company, large national company, when I started with them, on the first day I was hired, I came into the office on the first day, they handed me this 50-page document, 50-page rules and procedures for the company. And I had to read through that document and then sign the last page and date it and submit it to our human resources department. So that was adopting written codes. So I had this 50-page book to go through, read it, say that I understood it and I read it, and then sign my name to it, verify it as well. Now, in a lot of companies today, that's all done digitally. So you might go online and read a few pages online, or read bullet points online, or even watch a video, and then in some way acknowledge that you either watched the video or read the document as well. Have any of us today been through something like that? Anybody here in the group have had to sign off? I know with our college courses, I know sometimes our syllabus, aren't there some professors that make you sign the last page of your syllabus and hand that back in to them, which isn't a bad practice. I think I should start doing it, right? I think I ask you to send me a letter or an email. Yeah, and sometimes it may not be on the first day you start a business. Sometimes they might give you a few days, human resources or whoever the business owner is, and say, read this document on ethics in our company and our standards of procedure, and then let us know that you read it, or sign it and hand it back in. So a few of you, yeah. Yep. So, every 6 months. Dominic, that's a good That's a really good point. That's actually a great practice, to be honest. I don't know if you have to update your policies and procedures every month, but every 6 months, every year is a great practice for companies. I know, in sort of a different sense, but for the college, every year, annually, I don't think I'm disclosing anything I shouldn't be, but every year annually, I need to go through an assessment and conduct and behavior program. I have to watch videos and answer questions and take tests. Yes, and we do that annually as well. So let me ask you this. Why is this important? Why is it important that companies adopt written codes and institute ethics programs? But let's just start with if it's written for you or not, or if it's digitally, or if it's a video you watch. Why is that important? And why is it important to know that your employee read it or watched it and signed off on it? Why could that be important? Whatever your thoughts are, if you want to throw them up in chat, why is that important? I think it's a good practice, and most businesses do it, but why do they do it as well? I'm giving you a chance to answer before I read through your chat. Good. Yeah. So the question is, why do companies adopt written codes? So multiple chat happening, but nothing popped up. Yeah, so let's start from the top, and please keep adding to the chat. So Alyssa, so that's a great point. So, and to segue into something else, so that they can be held responsible for following it. Yeah, so the companies can hold the employees responsible for their actions, right? And then leading into that, into Dominic's point, to either prevent possible lawsuits, or if needed, to file a lawsuit. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. But also like students signing for their syllabus, right? After you read through the syllabus, so employers know that their employees understand, sure, what's asked of them, understand the policies and procedures. Yes. And confirmation, yeah, Aziz, that they know what they signed up for. Sure. And Alexis, and that's something I was going to bring up too. It's to protect the company. So they do this to protect themselves. They also do it as a preventative. I spell preventative right. This cursor's in my way, so. And Nicholas, exactly. So employees know what is acceptable and what isn't. Yeah. And to avoid trouble and legal issues. Ashlyn, thank you. So they do it, and I'm just kind of putting them both in a nutshell, and thank you for your feedback there. And you're all right. They do it to protect themselves, and they do it as preventative measures. And sure, and to make sure that everybody's on the same page, right? Everyone understands. And they know that, and it's not that they want to get into anything legal or any kind of trouble, but also by putting it out there, it might prevent future actions and prevent disagreements. And honestly, in a lot of ways, wasted time and wasted money as well. All right, good job there. Any questions about that? So this illustration shows us that companies will start from a set of core principles and core values, and a lot of times they're either built off of the mission statement or the vision for the company. So either the company will come up with the core principles and core values first, and then a mission off of that, or from the mission statement, they'll pull their core values and organizational values. And for most companies, they don't change. So the core values won't change. But what does change is the objectives and the strategies that come from those principles. So your core values won't change as a company, but your objectives and your strategies as you move forward as a company may change. And most of the time they will change. Because they change because economics might change. Social responsibilities might change. As an organization, as a group, you might change as well. Your direction might change. So you may not change that core principle and core value that you built your company on, but your objectives and your strategies will change as you move forward. So part of that I mentioned is social responsibility. And your corporate social responsibility might change as well. And this refers to the overall way in which a business attempts to balance its commitments to relevant groups and individuals in its social environment. And a little image for you there of corporate social responsibility and those groups and the people that this is impacting. And I'll give that a second. So this corporate social responsibility is going to impact the stakeholders of the company. And who or what are those stakeholders? Either groups, individuals, organizations that are directly affected or impacted by the practices of an organization and who therefore have a stake in its performance. So have an idea of what organizational stakeholders are, who they are. So if you see this next diagram, and if you need me to go back, please let me know. Major corporate stakeholders. So just have an idea of who these are. Customers, employees, investors, suppliers, and local communities. So this helps us establish what we consider the stakeholder model of responsibility, the stakeholder model of responsibility. So how do these companies treat their customers? How do they treat their employees? And if we're holding them in a higher standard, if we're holding them as ethically responsible, then there should be a certain level of responsibility that the company holds towards these different groups. So that's what we break down here. And let's get through these. We'll take a little break after these, okay? And I got a short video for you as well. Little change today. So our stakeholder model responsibility for customers is for businesses to treat our customers fairly and honestly. So treat customers fairly and honestly. And how do businesses do that? How do retailers do that? How do online shops do that? Well, they can charge fair prices. They can honor their warranties. They can stand behind the quality of their products and their disclaimers for the products as well. So any real world business examples? Do you have any businesses that you work with, any stores that you've dealt with, any retailers, any type of organization that fits this model, that fits this standard of responsibility towards their customer as a stakeholder? Anyone that you think stands above other companies? Their prices are fair. They stand behind the return policy. We can even say, right, returns. You know, I know for me, one of them is pretty local, and they don't always get the best rap, I don't think. But I don't know. They're always fair with me. And any ideas of businesses that you can think of that represent good examples of ShopRite? Yeah, I mean, ShopRite's one of my favorites, but sure, Dominic, ShopRite. Yeah, you know, I don't. You know, what's interesting. I'll let you get your thoughts in there first. You guys write up in chat. Any companies, any businesses. I know for me, one of them is a company that I use frequently, and maybe because, Amazon. Dominic, right where I was going with this, Amazon. You know, I had an experience with Amazon a little while ago, maybe a year or so ago, where I ordered a part for my car to replace a part in my car, and I couldn't drive my car without this part. Right? Ordered it from Amazon. I got the exact model, the exact piece I needed. Well, I took apart my vehicle. I installed the new part. The part wasn't working. I got on the phone that night with Amazon. I called up a customer service rep, or I chatted with them online, whatever they needed to do. The next morning in the AM, they not only sent me the replacement, but they sent, and I know this normally doesn't happen, but they sent one of the techs from a local auto place to come help me out and to make sure the part was working before they left. I mean, that's like above and beyond. I know it doesn't normally happen. I think that might have been the local dealer who helped me out. They came, they stayed with me until I replaced the part and made sure it worked. Right? So after that experience, you know, where does Amazon rank on my list? Like pretty high. They just do. I've never had a problem with the return from Amazon. And I'm not saying this is everybody's experience, and I'm not trying to sell anybody on Amazon, but I know my experience with Walmart has been pretty good. Local Walmart in Newton, if anything. You know, within their 30-day return policy, I've never had an issue getting credit or money back for something too. So maybe your experience has been different. All right, let's move on to employees. Treat employees fairly and respect their dignity and basic human needs. You know, that's a really important one, right? I'm not sure a lot of employees get that from their companies these days. That is respectful and, you know, trying to make sure their basic needs are met, and also making employees feel like they're part of the team, which is big and you know, important. You know, from my own experience, I've been with many large corporations. I've been with smaller businesses as well. Um, sometimes I would think in the smaller business I was with, you'd want to feel more like the team, and it would be easier in that environment. But a lot of times it wasn't. It was these larger companies that would show this model of responsibility towards their employees, right? Would show the respect and show this desire to make them part of the team. I'm fortunate at Sussex County Community College that I do feel like part of the team, right? And there's different groups on campus. There's faculty, there's executives, there's staff, but we're all part of the same team, kind of working towards the same goals. Any examples of companies, maybe, and you don't have to share your own personal, or maybe if you're with a company and you feel like they treat their employees really well, maybe they're a good example of this. I know a few companies that have made the Fortune 500, the top 500 list for businesses in the world and U.S. as that, for treatment of employees. Do you guys have any that you would say is in the top of the list for employee treatment? I'm afraid to ask you for any that don't make the list or on the bottom. Let's not get critical on any businesses now, and you guys tell me if you've been part of these companies already, maybe if they should be on this list or not. Starbucks has made the list. Microsoft has made the list. Federal Express, FedEx. I don't know too much about them. I know who they are. Obviously, I've used them. But yeah, so Starbucks made the list. Microsoft made the list. On a different list was Google. I'm not sure if that was for employee satisfaction or company treatment of their employees, but Google was up there somewhere. All right, so maybe you disagree with me or not. Hopefully you're still with me. And then lastly on our list here was investors. Follow proper accounting procedures, provide information to shareholders about financial performance. And the job of the company to protect shareholder rights, right? For the company to value shareholders, value investors, and value their rights to their stock or their holdings in that company as well. That's part of the stakeholder model of social responsibility as well. All right, before we jump into another section, we've been going for almost 45 minutes already. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? How about that? Can you meet me back here at 2:35? I'll put it down in the chat in case. So a 5-minute break. Meet me back at 2:36. And I'll have a little short video for us, something a little bit different. And it's going to be a real world example of this social responsibility. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Meet back here at 2:36. Good. Thank you. Hey, welcome back. So thank you for sticking with me here. Hope you enjoyed your little break. So we're going to watch a video about a company called Jones Soda. We're going to watch a short video, less than 5 minutes. Has anyone here sampled Jones Soda, or anyone here heard of Jones Soda? And I need to keep my video off for a minute so to make sure the video works and the sound works for you guys. I might turn the sound up when the video pops on too. So Jones Soda you have. Okay. So Jones Soda, pretty unique company that sells different flavors of soda. It's pretty interesting. But there's 2 questions I want you to think about when you watch the video. So it's short, not quizzing you or anything, but so 2 things to think about when you watch this video. I put it down in chat. So who are the stakeholders? And as a company, how does Jones Soda enact or promote social responsibility? All right, so just 2 questions when you watch the video. So who are the stakeholders for the Jones Soda? And how do they promote social responsibility? All right, I'm going to try to turn off any background distractions. I got to make sure the sound stays on for you guys.
When your product is as fresh and hip as Jones Soda, you get a leg up on street credibility. Jones has always been customer-focused, from their lack of traditional advertising to their penchant for experimentation with crazy soda flavors like bug juice, jelly donut, and lines of flavors based on the popular games Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. If you've ever been to a Panera Bread or Starbucks, you've probably seen Jones products. Their core brand identity is bottled natural sodas with labels sporting customer-submitted photographs. But it's very easy to lose your market if your organization is just fronting for typical corporate behavior, or if you lose your identity during tough economic times. Jones Soda's management, led today by CEO Joth Ricci, stays legit, and he's the 3rd CEO to helm the Seattle-based business in as many years, thanks to the economic downturn. How does he keep up the vision of originator Peter Van Stolk, who founded the business in 1987? One of Van Stolk's first commitments was to use more expensive cane sugar to sweeten Jones drinks instead of the common government-subsidized corporate corn syrup that most companies use, which produces a poorer product and some experts claim is greatly intensifying modern society's battle with obesity. But to respond to changes in customer demand, the company is now focusing more on the zero-calorie market space with their new line of zilch products. Yet even their crazier ideas, like releasing a turkey and gravy flavored soda on Thanksgiving, had method to their madness. Jones donated the proceeds from that campaign to St. Jude's Children's Hospital and won a Proggy Award from PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, for their holiday fare alternative to live turkeys. Inspired by the response, they released a tofurkey version of the drink in November 2009 to raise awareness of animal rights issues, this time donating the proceeds to PAWS, the Progressive Animal Welfare Society. When you order a case of Jones online, the box comes with a host of ideas on how to reuse it, instead of putting it into a landfill or even recycling it, all collected from customers interested in the product. Even during the Great Recession, Jones still handed out free soda at its headquarters to local residents every Friday. It's tradition, and people appreciate the sentiment. One typical Jones idea featured a slew of competing cola flavors like Pure McCain and Capital Hillary, honoring some of the candidates in the 2008 election. But in doing so, Jones also increased awareness of the historically important election to their often voting-averse demographic. Jones even celebrated the election of the first African-American president with a beverage called Orange You Glad for Change. Jones' main mode of advertising, not television, which most companies use, is a pair of vans that circle the country, giving away sodas and swag at skate parks and high schools and spreading goodwill by word of mouth. In 2004, the company retooled these vehicles to use biofuels made of soybeans to lower their exhaust of greenhouse gases. But while decisions like that are for the good of all, some things, like their central theme of using cane sugar, aren't really motivated by naked altruism. As Van Stolk once observed, it just makes sense to do right by the market, the country, and the environment because it's on message with their core brand. At the end of the day, sharing the values of your loyal customer base is just good for business.
All right. I will send out a link to that video if you want to watch that again at some point. Just getting my webcam back up. So let's answer those two questions. All right, so for Jones Soda, who are their stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders of Jones Soda? Anyone can throw it up there in chat. Hopefully you're still with us. I will remember to take attendance while you're answering that question. So sorry, I forgot my volume might have been a little bit much there. Sure, customers are their stakeholders. Who else are their stakeholders? Employees, yes. Thank you, Alyssa, yes. So customers, employees, sure. So how does Jones Soda promote social responsibility? What actions were they taking to fit, sorry about that, to fit this social responsibility? What actions were they taking? So hopefully you like that video. Sorry about that. Yeah, so biofuel for their vans. Yeah, definitely. They talked about some type of soy, right? Fuel. So biofuel for the vans, giving out free soda. Connor, yes. Finding ways to reuse their soda boxes. Yes, printing the directions on the side of the box. Yeah, sure. Recycling in a way, right? Keeping traditions, creating awareness. So through their marketing. Yeah, Catherine, promoting recycling and making the environment a better place. Sure. So what are some of the more interesting ways they promoted their products? What do you think? What are some things that came up? Yeah, thank you. The turkey soda. Yes, the turkey and gravy soda. If I bring turkey and gravy soda in next week, will you try it? Does anyone want to sample the turkey and gravy soda? So if I can bring that to campus next week, would you come in and would you come try it? Yes, you want the turkey and gravy soda. There was also tofu turkey. Sorry, yes. Oh, Catherine says no way. Oh, come on, you want to try the turkey and gravy soda? If I can get some for next week, I'm going to try. A short while ago, I tried. Anyone ever have peanut butter and jelly soda? Yes, PB&J soda, peanut butter and jelly soda. It was interesting. I was on a trip down to Florida and a rest stop had it for some reason. I don't know why. Funny. I hear you. Sounds like Florida. Yes, PB&J soda. I'm not sure we were quite in Florida yet, but it was definitely close. So other stakeholders, right, is PETA. They talked about PETA, right? And they were also donating money to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Did you catch that in there? Right? A lot going on in that short video. They donated to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They won an award from PETA for their awareness of turkeys during Thanksgiving. I won't go too much into that. And then the change, the pure cane sugar, right? So you could say that a social responsible group would be for health, right? Away from corn syrup into pure cane sugar. That was there too, right? So another way that they are responsible towards customers. So the health, the biofuels, the packaging, the recycling, and then awareness. Awareness is a social responsibility as well. Talking about like voting awareness and voting rights. So that was there too. All right, so good stuff in that short video. I'll send out a link to that video as well. But if that's actually available, that's one of the MyLab features, that there's videos almost with every chapter in MyLab. And I'll try to bring them to the class when I can, when they're not too long. I'll try to work them into our classroom setting. But those are available if you go into the link for the textbook, but instead of clicking read now, you click launch courseware. Click launch courseware in the second module on Canvas, and that'll bring you to MyLab, which you can go through the different chapters and select concepts, definitions, and some videos in some chapters, not in all chapters. So I'll send you a link for that. But let's move in just for a few minutes, and we'll finish this next Monday. Okay, I can't believe it's Wednesday already. But let's finish this next Monday. But before we get into next Monday, but don't go yet. Don't leave me yet, please. We're going to expand a little bit on responsibility towards customers, because a lot of people don't know that. You might realize it, that as a customer, as a consumer, that we have rights. And a lot of the rights that we have as consumers, they're actually backed by state policies and they're backed by our government. So before I go into the Consumer Bill of Rights, let's talk about a little bit of this. And our first term is consumerism. Consumerism. Social activism dedicated to protecting the rights of consumers in their dealings with businesses. So consumers have rights. And like I said, in a future chapter, we'll get into the Bill of Rights, Consumers' Bill of Rights, that were set up by the government at this point, about 70 years ago. So one of the rights that we have protection from is unfair pricing or collusion. Two or more firms collaborate on such wrongful acts as price fixing. Now, collusion can be very hard to prove, meaning collusion needs to have, how do I put this? Collusion usually is based on if there's basic needs that need to be met by people, by consumers. And companies come together to unfairly price or supply these products to people that the people cannot otherwise get. Almost like forming a monopoly, really, is what collusion does. Now, there was a case I know of in Pennsylvania, and this is going back 10 years, if not more, about, and it was a local case to that municipality in Pennsylvania. And it was basically two gas stations that were 50 miles apart from everybody else, two gas stations, and their price was, like $1 more a gallon. And not even reasonably priced per gallon, because they knew they were both so far away from everybody else. They charged $1 more a gallon. And the communities that were in those areas only had those two to go to, and those two wouldn't fight with each other. And they found out that those two came together to fix the price for a lot higher price than the normal price of the gas. Now, there were some issues, legal issues with that they could charge whatever they wanted to charge, but I don't want to go too much down that road. But that was the basis for collusion, right? These two companies that were competitors came together and said, we can charge a lot more if we work together, and that's what was happening. So price gouging is different, right? Price gouging is different. Does anyone know when price gouging happens or have heard of price gouging? When does price gouging happen? Anyone maybe kind of feel like they've been a victim of price gouging or have an idea of when it happens? Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Ryan, that's a good point. I didn't even think about more recently too. Start of COVID with toilet paper. Yeah. So, and please put your rest of your thoughts in the chat. But Ryan, do you have an idea? So why was it price gouging with toilet paper? Can you expand on that a little bit, Ryan? Not to put you on the spot, but I think you're on the right track. What happened with toilet paper that would fit under the price gouging term? Yeah, so there's high demand. And what does the seller do for the product? And Alyssa, thank you, Edward too. The same thing with hand sanitizer. Yeah, they jack up the price, right? And I saw a few stores doing that. I mean, toilet paper, you get maybe 99 cents a roll. I don't want to get too much into it. But they were charging like $3 or $4 a roll. The same with hand sanitizer. All of a sudden, that $2 bottle was $10, $12, right? Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's price gouging. Yes. We've seen it a lot. Now, it's hard to enforce. It's hard to say it's unlawful because they're trying to get the most they can for certain products that it's short on supply. Your textbook example, and we'll leave on this, during a bad snowstorm. And I always feel the worst for this. During a bad snowstorm or very bad severe weather, especially in the north, extreme cold and weather, the price of salt goes up. The price of a shovel goes up, right? Supply decreases, demand goes up. And what do the businesses do? They jack the prices up a lot. So that's a good point to end on today. Don't forget about the student success packet questions. Please have them due. The Club Rush, if you missed that, the Club Rush and Welcome Barbecue is not tomorrow. It's next Tuesday. Come meet me on campus next Tuesday, 11 to 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. And the Chapter 2 homework was pushed back to Sunday. So it's not due till Sunday. Hopefully you got a good start on that now. We're going to come back next Monday. We're going to finish up Chapter 2, maybe start Chapter 3. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the additional time. My puppy says goodbye to you, too. If you want to hang on, I'll grab her for a quick goodbye. Come on. go, girl? I gotta brush you. Yeah, so if you stuck around, you get to say goodbye to the puppy. You gonna go, girl? Oh, you were barking a little bit, weren't you? Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy this beautiful day. Yes, there, my puppy gives you the heart. Do you like the heart? Thanks, everyone. You take care. You say goodbye. Okay. You too. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.